So when you were called up finally to join the proper war, as it were, where did you go then?
Oh, I went to Portsmouth.
Oh, did you? Yes. And do they have a basic training?
Well, Gosport and Portsmouth with the training was HMS Victory Gosport for first part training, and then the second part training was HMS Victory Portsmouth.
Yeah.
And then for various things you do all your training there, and perhaps go to Whale Island for gunnery school, and another place for torpedo training, the electrics and torpedoes.
Yeah. How long is training before you were sent off to?
Well, altogether it's only about 10 weeks, 10 or 11 weeks.
That must have been
Cramped, yeah, it was really cramped.
intensive, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you remember of it?
Well, I had, we remember it quite well, you know, but because we're all fairly young chaps, you know.
Yeah.
I think altogether, there was about 300 of us altogether in the back doing the similar courses.
Anybody else from Bampton?
No, not at the time, because there was Bill Woodley, who was already in the Navy.
Yeah.
But I think that was about the only. Arthur Beckley.
Oh, was he?
He was already prior to me going in.
Yes, I talked to somebody who'd been on.
Jack Morton was another one.
Somebody was on Minesweepers. Who would that be?
I was on Minesweepers.
Were you? Yeah.
Mm.
Yes.
Oh, and Chrissy Timms was on Chrissy Timms was on Mine Layers. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. He went into the Navy just after I did, and
Yeah.
he ended up in the Far East.
Yes.
Yeah.
So first assignment, you had your training. What happened then?
There after training, I went out to Malta from Greenock. Went out on a
Greenock in
trooper.
Scotland. Yeah.
And then I got posted to a ship, drafted to a ship rather. A few weeks after I'd been into a landing craft, a tank landing craft, HMS Thruster, built in Belfast, steam turbine. They're completely different from the American type where the doors just opened up.
Yeah.
That's right, because we had a big ramp that we could push out. If we couldn't get close enough to the beach, we could push a ramp out,
Yeah.
which was beneficial.
Yeah. Yeah. So where did you deliver tanks to?
Up to Sicily, Italy.
Oh, was it? Yes.
Yeah. And well, we operated quite a bit in Greece and that, but we didn't need. Basically, when we were in Greece, we were taking people like special boat servicemen, and they were bringing back some Italian prisoners and things like that sort of thing. But mainly the tanks were Italy, south of France.
Yeah.
Operating from Corsica then, south of France. But basically up both sides of Italy.
West and East, yeah.
West and East,
Yeah, yeah.
The Adriatic.
Do you remember it being dangerous? Do you remember being shot at or bombarded or torpedoed by the...
We were up in the Gulf of Salonika,
Yeah.
and there was a mine, reported a mine, a sea mine that had been washed up. And we went up there on with our little personnel landing craft, and we went up there with the electrician officer who was the bomb disposer. And there was this big mine standing, well, you know, nearly as tall as what I was. Like, ah!
It was washed up, was it? It wasn't
washed
floating?
up.
Yeah.
But it must have been fairly rough to have lifted that mine so high up on this beach. And anyway, we went there, and two of us, we were just handing the tools to the disposal.
Well, you're standing right next to it, are you?
About as far away as from you.
Me to you, yes, thanks, yes.
And the chap that was with me was a rather large chap, and I was a bit of a coward really, because as we landed there, I thought I stood behind him in case it went off. It's plain as day.
Yes.
No,
yes.
There was an explosive in that mine. What, 500 pounds of Amatol explosive?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I actually stood behind him in case it went off.
It wouldn't have been much good, I don't think.
No, and it was always it was a bit of a worry if you were going onto the beach, in case it might be mined, because you didn't actually. Most of the place had been cleared, obviously, you know. But you never know with mines and that.
But you, ships then had somebody on the lookout for the floating ones, because
Well,
could be just triggered very easily.
Yeah, well, we that anything like that was usually from the port and starboard lookouts on the bridge, you know. But usually most mines, once they'd been destroyed, they usually sank, you know. The buoyancy chamber was down. You hear people saying, oh, there was a huge explosion and up. By and large, the buoyancy chamber was down, of course, and they just sank then, you see.
Yeah, bottom of the sea. Safe. Yeah. So how long, what year did you go into the Navy then?
I went in 1943.
Okay, so you had 2 years of the war. Were you you were in it for those 2 years of the war?
1943, and I got demobbed in 1947.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
yes.
1947 I got demobbed.
So where did you get to sea?
After the landing craft, I come back to England and went on to small minesweepers in the North Sea. Bit of a change.
Yes. Bit colder.
Colder, yeah. And,
yes.
But they're lovely little. They were vessels that were built by. They were American, called BIMS, BYMS.
Yeah.
My vessel was BYMS 2016.
So you remember it still?
Yeah. And we used to minesweep it in threes. You know, in the middle. Yeah. Because of the electronic sweeps, you know, the pulses for blowing the mines up, you know.
I only know the phrase minesweeper. What does it do? It sends out an electric pulse which will trigger the mine?
It can send out, I think, like what they call a hammer. It's like a big earphone which sends out vibes like this and will explode certain types of mine.
Yeah.
There's mines that react to vibration or what size a ship might go over them.
Yes.
And then there's mines that you that are exploded by electrics. They have to have a pulse. One ship sends out the pulse on its shortest cable, and the other two pulse on the long cable. So it's that pattern that destroys. That destroys the mine.
Yes. Dangerous or
well, it can be. Well, because you my job mainly was to be on the wheel when the coxswain wasn't. Oh, that was helmsman. Helm, you see. And you've got a rough outline where the minefield has been shaped into a decent shape. You've got a rough idea where it is, but I mean, it's always it's always a bit dicey.
Yeah. Yes. Do you remember being afraid, or you just had the confidence of a young man? You know, because.
Well, I should have been very afraid, really, because I was in Bari in Italy.
Yeah.
And
that's at the it's down the bottom, isn't it?
No, it's up in the Adriatic. Well, it's really low down.
Yes, but on the east side.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we were in Bari, and there was an ammunition ship there, and all of a sudden it just blew to smithereens, and we all lost our hats and stuff was falling, and I mean nothing happened to me at all, but God, there was a lot of casualties.
Were there?
Yeah, loads of casualties. And our postman.
What had set that off? Is that some?
Well, they think it might have been sabotage.
Oh,
I
right.
don't know.
Yeah.
But our postman, he'd gone ashore to pick up some mail.
Yeah.
And he dived under one of these railway wagons, you know.
Yeah.
And that was full of things that they call Clarkson cases. It's full of cordite for firing shells, you know. It's when a shell is separate from its propellant. So shell goes in, then the propellant goes in. And he was sitting under there, and of course never going whee, you know, we're going up in the air, Well, completely harmless to him, but well, because they didn't explode. You see, they gradually burnt. You see, they weren't sort of an explosive that ripped everything to pieces.
And he was just sitting under this.
He's underneath there
That's a tale to
with
tell,
our
isn't it?
post. Yeah.
Deary me. Did you get to see much of the lands that you went? I mean, did you see much of Greece? Did you see much of Italy?
I saw lots of Italy.
Did you?
Mm.
Yes, not so. When you just had the chance
Sicily
to go
and Italy.
Yeah.
Well, I had a rest leave. We had rest leave, and I didn't actually get other rest leave myself, but in Sicily we had rest leave.
Yeah.
And they had a rest leave in Bari in Italy, and also up in Pisa, Florence, you know.
Did you?
And further up, yeah, and where else? Oh no, the other one was, I had a rest leave in Tunisia,
Yeah.
and one in Egypt. The one we had in Egypt was for the simple reason was there was a heat wave on and nobody could do any work. And at that particular time, the entire tank hangar of the ship was fully laden with submarine cable, which weighs tons. You know, the ship was sunk right. Well, and of course the natives, or us, the temperature was so high we didn't work. So off we went up to the Cairo and up the Nile.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you? You remember all that?
Oh, yeah.
Seeing the pyramids?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Sphinx?
As a matter of fact, I've got a heel of a shoe that's, well, I haven't got it actually. It's still in the pyramid. It's still in the pyramid. It came off. I don't know if anybody's
You mean you climbed
Where
up?
did this heel come from? You know.
You climbed up or you went in?
Oh, inside.
You went inside?
There was one chap that used to run up that pyramid in Gaza. I think it used to take him.
One of yours or one of them?
Oh no, one of the natives.
Yeah.
It cost you some piastres or something. You know,
Yeah.
I can't quite remember what. He used to run up them.
Amazing. Amazing.
Well, when I say run up them, you should climb. I think you should take him 2 or 3 minutes to get to the peak.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't think they do it now.
No.
Do they running up it? I know you can climb a little way up. You can't run to the top.
So do they still run up it?
They go a little way up. There's a little point.
It's one we went in. I know you go so far up, then go into an entrance. You know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ride on a camel?
Yes. Well, I know we've got this trouble in Cairo at the moment, but when I was in Cairo, there was no buildings on the West Bank at all. Just shows how it's the growth. I think the population there was about 5 million. I think it's about 13 now or more, perhaps.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable now because
So
they're
that-
building all
I mean,
over the farmland.
What they've, where they've built now, I mean, it's quite near to the pyramids, really, when there was nothing, you see.
Yeah.
There was just one cafe on there called Ramades. This cafe was called. And, there's 3 of us lads there having our photograph taken.
Have you got the picture?
Yeah, I got one. Yeah,
Have
I
you?
got one in my coat actually.
Oh, have you? Oh,
Yeah.
good. Right, remember that. Yeah.
Oh, it's only a little thing, mate.
You didn't lose photographs in the flood then?
Well, I was very lucky photograph-wise.
Oh.
I did little. I lost a lot of seeds and things like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But photos you kept.
Reluctantly. But,
Yeah. Yes.
yeah. Well, lost some, and some books, a few books. But in the main, what was lost is replaceable. But
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't lose the photographs and
Yes. That's
the
most
books.
people
I
go.
didn't want to lose,
Yeah.
but there we are.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What about memories of Greece or Italy?
Well, we went into Greece. I think the same day into Piraeus.
Yeah.
Almost the same day as the Greeks pushed the Germans out. Because, I mean, we didn't have nothing to do with that. But we went into Piraeus, and what surprised us, we had a chance to go up to Athens, and the electric railway was still running to Athens. It just shows, you know.
Yeah.
And after a few days, the amount of gold that come out into the shops that had been hidden away, I suppose, because the money was no good, you see.
Yeah.
I mean, the drachma, you paid thousands of drachma for a pomegranate.
Yeah.
Yeah, an English sixpence, you see, was worth like a king's ransom. So,
because it was real metal.
yeah, remember, yeah. The paper money was it wasn't no good.
Yeah.
I don't know what the rate of exchange was. It's been, it was no good.
And Italy and Sicily, what do you remember of them?
Oh, I loved Italy and Sicily. My favourite island to begin with was Corsica, and then I changed to Italy because I thought it was a lovely place to go.
And you went to Florence.
Yeah, I went to Florence, Pisa.
Yeah.
I've been, I will say, not during them, but since I've been all over Italy except Rome.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was there? I mean, because Florence now is famous for the art scene and the Medici Gallery and the statue of David and everything. Was that there then, or had they hidden it away?
If you go in, Florence got marvellous gallery and
Yeah.
yeah.
But was
Venice
that open then, or had they hidden everything away?
Oh no, there was no.
It's all there.
And then we could go up to the Tower of Pisa.
Yeah.
And then, as the years went by, of course, it got more dangerous, so they stopped. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. There's a photograph of you, dressed in a sailor's costume, doing the Morris dancing. Now, when was that?
Oh, that was by Pathé News. That was by Pathé News from outside the Elephant and Castle, and also at Weald Manor,
Oh yes.
1947.
Yeah.
That was because one of the dancers got a bit inebriated.
Surely not. Well, that was when there were how many pubs?
Oh, 11.
11.
Yeah.
And you went round every one. And only one passed out. So you took.
Yeah, only one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So you danced.
And when I got back to Portsmouth, I was on just before I got demob. I went to a little wood burning, a coal burning vessel called HMS Vesuvius, and it was a rusty old tub really, but it was rusty because it was an old 1913 vessel, and we were experimenting with explosives out in the Solent, and on this particular day we'd come back into harbour, and we went down to the pub and had a few pints of Bass. Then we decided we'd go to the cinema. Well, we went to the cinema and the Pathé News come on. And
wait, before you go on, explain, because there'll be some younger people in the audience, what the Pathé News was.
Pathé News was like the news you get on the television or anything. Yeah, it was just Pathé News. You usually come off presenting with the cockerel gun, that sort of thing. That's where the bit of film come. Anyway, we went to the cinema, and the Pathé News come on, and it showed part of it was the Bampton Morris dancers, and our engineer, the chief PO, he stood up and said, "Ah, Jesus Christ," he said, "you never told me you were a bloody film star." and he stood up and he said to the people sitting down, "Yes, and he's here, look, he's here now, sitting here now." He said, "Shut up."
Did you know it was going to be on? Did you
I
know?
haven't got a clue.
You didn't know?
Oh no, but that's they've just done this dancing and things, haven't they? And there's been clips on. That was little clips from Pathé News, but
Yeah.
I suppose if anybody wanted, I suppose they could get the entire
Yes, from that programme about folk
part of the
dancing.
run.
What else do you remember about Italy?
I had a nice little girlfriend in it.
Did you? Where was she?
Eh?
Where was she?
She was from Napoli, Naples.
Napoli.
Back streets of Naples.
Was
No,
she?
she knows Napoli.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you keep in touch?
No.
No.
The only one I kept in touch with a friend of, was a very nice lady in Tunisia.
Yes.
She wrote to Ruth to improve her French.
Did she?
She was nice.
Yes.
But they, yeah. Always pick a good one, you see.
Do you? Yeah. Yes.